This is a trade recap for February 19th, 2026. We're on Thursday. So almost through this week, continuing on with one and done. And first to trigger, all good in that department. So this was 16 of 30. So we're past the halfway mark. Everything is going good. I'm trying to think of anything weird that happened today in the markets. Everything seemed pretty normal. No issues that I can really think of off the top of my head. And yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get started here in a moment. But if you are new to trading or you're struggling with trading and you're looking for some guidance, mentorship, coaching, listen up, because this should help you get exactly what you need. I am a student of this gentleman. This is Pat Mitchell. He is a professional day trader, though he originally was in blue-collar work. And he has been in the markets for a little over a decade now. And he has built up a incredible process and knowledge base when it comes to learning how to day trade. He runs a service called Trick Trades. He has also put together inside of Trick Trades a program called SizeUp, and that's what I do. And it is a structured program for learning how to day trade. You start with a small cash account and you basically build that up with your education, experience, and screen time to eventually hit different milestones and become a full-time professional day trader. So if you're interested in something like that, great person, probably one of the highest quality coaches when it comes to day trading out there. If not the highest quality, I don't personally know of any other coaches that I can stand by or say that about. And I've been around a few of them in terms of their services, and nothing even comes close to what Pat offers. So if you're looking for a high quality coach, I cannot recommend him enough. And like I said before, you can find him over at tricktrades.com. He also has a YouTube channel on his own where he posts recaps usually daily. If you want to check that out, you can get a little preview of the kind of information he offers and the quality. And that is just a very, very small amount of the knowledge he possesses. But yeah, definitely check him out. It will be worth your time and effort to go through some of his content and judge for yourself. And with that being said, let's get into the charts. So if you are new here, so how this is kind of set up is I do a recording of the live session that I trade. They kind of give you the lay of the land. The charts here on the left, these are the daily charts. And here in the middle is your 1 minute intraday chart. And then I have my order execution here on the right. Pat starts developing the trade plan the night before and refines it the morning of. And that's what these blue levels on the daily chart are. They are determined by him. Again, one of the exercises I like to do is plot them before I look at what he's plotted to see, again, am I looking at the right thing? Am I dissecting the price action and the movement correctly? So everything was close. I'd say the lower levels on both were a little different than what he chose. So again, it was close. So kind of had the same idea, not exact though. So good little learning experience there. I add the risk levels on my own because I like to see it visually. Helps me keep track of it. And yeah, then the levels don't change whatsoever. They stay exactly the same. We don't change them mid-market or mid-session whatsoever. They're static. And for today, we were kind of favoring the short on SPY and the long on Qs, but then it started changing a little bit. And we can kind of go on that and see how that kind of all unfolded this morning. So I'll go ahead. This is about, I'm going to kick it off roughly 1 minute before the open. So we'll go ahead and hit play. And then just watching, waiting, seeing how exactly we're opening, where we're going to open, anything that's going on that might be of concern, get order entries, ready, things like that. Make sure the right option's selected, the right strike, all that stuff. Adjusting the risk level there just to see again where would be a good place to stop out. Again, Joey, you want to stop out on a technical level. All right, here comes the open. So you open, it still looks like it's starting to start moving, but that's kind of the interesting thing that was this morning session was it kind of just chopped sideways for the first few minutes. And then that's where, again, having a good coach and mentor, one of the things that Pat has kind of pounded into us over the years is that you don't just watch one of these charts, you watch both of them. So one of the things that we started to notice, and he called it out, was while we were favoring the long on Qs, one of the issues there was the fact that SPY had a bit more distance to come down than Qs did to test its level. So that could actually, with SPY coming down into its level, could actually cause Qs to come below not only its level, but also kind of where I have that risk level as well. So it's one of those things you kind of have to keep watching both of them just to make sure things are lining up. And because there was kind of that extra wiggle room for SPY, so I think it's good to be cautious in that kind of situation. So again, both kind of came up. They're both kind of just messing around, trying to figure out what it wants to do. It's just kind of consolidating. Test some pre-market range on both of them. And as you can see, if you look on the daily chart, the 5 EMA is kind of sitting right above both of them. So it's kind of influencing things a little bit. But so far, I mean, like I said, kind of just doing sideways action. And then eventually things will start kind of choosing a direction to go in. Which is something to be, again, aware of when it really starts choosing that true direction. It can be hard to, you don't necessarily want to ever fight that because, again, it's a good way to get yourself into a situation you don't want to be in. Just a little tidbit there. And sometimes, again, we'll get mornings like this where it's kind of divergent. Or not really divergent, but it's just sideways. Like, market doesn't seem like it really knows what it wants to do yet. So that's a good point in time. If you're kind of waiting, like double check your stuff. Do I have, again, the right option selected, the right side of it, the right strike, things like that? Is the premium normal or is it all jacked up? Things like that. Just run through the checklist real quick. Make sure you're not going to make any mistakes. Because again, I have done that before and I realized I've had the wrong strike selected. Either had the wrong side of it or just the wrong strike price or didn't catch the premium. it being elevated or something. It's all happened to me in the past, and it does happen. Again, mistakes do happen, but it's one of those things where if you have a moment to just double check yourself, it does not hurt to make sure all that stuff is good to go. So I might actually just speed this up a touch so we can kind of give it. Now you can see, jump it forward just a little bit. Starting to come down a little bit on Q. SPY still holding up. And this is where things are now starting to, again, move in a direction towards a level where we can actually potentially execute. But again, watching that distance to the level between SPY and Qs, you can see that big difference there. So it's one of those things where you got to take that into account. Because if SPY wants to come down and test that level, it's going to pull Qs lower. So right now I'm just exercising patience, discipline. I want it nice and close into that level. There's the buy. Now we're just going to wait. And again, because of the distance, SPY can still come down. It's like I'm not really looking to add, and I don't want to wait around in this thing much longer than I have to. Just really looking for that first reaction because this thing can easily move lower. And Pat was warning of that during, again, the session. I was like, just be aware. So actually I was kind of expecting to get stopped out of this one. So again, we're seeing that reaction kind of coming in. And yeah, basically just take it off. Because the potential for the downside seems to be greater than the possibility, probability, things like that. Just take a quick screen snip. And then, yeah, I mean, but the interesting thing is, like, I'll jump forward here. As you can see, kind of just muddles along, comes back down to test. And again, that would normally be a good place to add an average. But with SPY kind of just floating around there in the middle of nowhere, it's one of those things where I'd rather be cautious and miss out on a little extra profit than add size and then get stopped out, especially after executing a trade that was green. But as you can see, it's like, yeah, this one worked, and then it again turned around, dumps back down to the level. In case it keeps messing around with that level, SPY is now kind of grinding back up, which is what we were ultimately looking for. I mean, a good follow through, but it's a little noisy in terms of the price action. But trade worked to plan. Again, there's more than enough meat on the bone. Again, SPY came up into, again, that's main level, and again, gave another opportunity up there. Just kind of follows through. Plenty, and then comes up even more. Qs is now testing its level. And as you can see, if you hit that, and again, time and opportunity every single day. And then, yeah, that's kind of where that ends. So pull up the actual charts now. So here you can see the actual order execution I'd had on Qs. But as you can see, it came down to the level, reacted with it, got that first reaction. And like I said before, because of the distance, SPY still had to come down, didn't add any size just to be cautious. Came down, tested the level like a couple more times, and then ultimately ripped up or just moved its way up to the other level. So went level to level. So again, the long worked, the short worked on Qs. Tried to, again, come up again, failed the level, come up again, failed line. Again, this is later than we would actually ever trade. Generally try to stick to the first hour and a half of the market session only. SPY, again, did not come down low enough to trigger on the long, but it did ultimately come up into the short level and triggered. And again, like, so of the levels, you see you had 4 plays, 2 on each, 3 of the 4 triggered and worked. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, that's beautiful. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. So yeah, I mean, that's all in all. Like I said, was cautious because of just the distance on spine and wasn't aligning, so I didn't get size in. That's something I've been trying to focus on now that we're kind of halfway through the period of one and done that I'm working. I'm going to be focused more on adding, averaging, and correcting, but it's also identifying when it is appropriate to do so and when it is not appropriate to do so. That way, again, you're not adding size into a position that ultimately is going against you. You need to recognize that fact or has a higher probability of failing. So you got to start exercising those muscles, gain experience and discipline doing that, and see what kind of happens for the back half of this. And sometimes, again, it'll just truly be that first reaction is the only thing you get. If that's the case, that's the case. I mean, it's what the market does. We don't control that. But all in all, solid day. Almost done with the week. Yeah. If you're looking for high-level coaching, mentorship, and really learning how to do this on a professional level, come see Pat Mitchell over at Trick Trades. If you're really interested in learning more, you can check out his YouTube channel as well. He's got over 1,500 videos there. And if you're very want to learn specifically about, say, the SizeUp program that he has created, there's a link in the description for the webinar he put on for that. And yeah, give it a look over, give the service a shot. If you're truly looking to learn this, yeah, that you won't be disappointed with the quality of the education that's there. I know I'm not. I know the members can attest to that day in, day out. But with that being said, I hope everyone has a great day, and we will catch y'all later. Have a good one.